Hi, my name is Troy Anderson. I'm the owner of Anderson Training Systems. What I'm going to share with you today is part 2 of our Burn Inches Build Strength program. This part 2, obviously what we talked about in our part 1, is our standard protocol for programming is to have a couple strength drills, and then we go into some circuit that's going to support any kind of corrective exercise and strengthening that we need to do for specific areas of the body, as well as provide a fat burning component. So we're going to start off with our big iron portion, or our strength building portion, with some kettlebell work today, because this is specific to the program to getting stronger with the kettlebells and more effective with them. Our first kettlebell drill is the kettlebell snatch. I'm using a little bit heavier bell here today so I can give you a good realistic look at what we're looking at as far as technical terms are concerned, and then we're going to move on into a double kettlebell front squat as well. Our first drill here is, like I said, the kettlebell snatch. Kettlebell snatch is pretty much, in my opinion, the godfather of all kettlebell exercises. Excellent drill, very good for those that want to do Olympic style lifts or snatch type movements but aren't quite coordinated enough or have enough experience or good coaching available to do them. The kettlebell snatch is very easily learnable and very easily to effectively implement into your programming. I have here it's a 62 pound or 28 kilo kettlebell. What you want to do is start a little bit ahead of the kettlebell. All we're going to do is give a little bit of prep swing. The key to this movement and the key to any of the ballistic kettlebell movements or any of the Olympic style movements for that matter is to get your hips and glutes involved. And again, kind of get that pre-stretch into those hamstrings and glutes, and then snap through and punch at the top. The upper body and arm is basically and only going to be guiding the kettlebell up to the top part, and then we're going to become rigid underneath that kettlebell, flexing and contracting our whole upper body to receive that kettlebell in its final resting position. So let me go ahead and do a couple repetitions for you. I'm someone who's very quad dominant, so I have to be very cognizant of pushing back as opposed to bending down. Some of those that are a little less experienced are very quad dominant as well, may have the tendency to kind of bend down and snatch this way and do more of the work from flexing, extending their knees as opposed from the hips. But the hips is the proper way. It's going to be the way that you're going to get the most power and to be able to develop the most strength doing these type of movements. The other facet that many people have trouble with initially is that they don't know how to get from this position through. And what you have to really do is to get that pole high enough by having accelerated with the hips, and then you're just going to punch out through the top. It's very difficult. One progression that I like to use with my clients, and I'm going to show you here in a second, is to do high pulls and then progress into an actual snatch. So I'm going to show you that progression real quick just in case you have a little bit of difficulty. So as such, back through. It just sets the stage, or sets the platter, so to speak, for developing that snatch motion. The last thing that people have a problem with is that bell coming down and hitting them on the wrist. That's caused by two things usually. It's usually caused by us over gripping the bell too early and then it gets stuck and falls down, or that we've got off on our high pull somewhere along the line in our punch through. So we want to high pull up, be nice and limp or whip-like arm, punch through, and then grab tightly. We don't want that bell to leak out the back of the hand either, so we want a nice firm wrist when the kettlebell reaches the back side of our arm. I'm going to show you one more repetition. Here, weight on my heels. I like to start with my glutes squeezed so I can push back into them a little bit. Again, kind of blowing out the seat of my shorts, so that's the kind of thought process. There, you can see viewed from the side, I have a nice straight line. My body trunk is nice and tight, my glutes are squeezed, protect my back underneath me, and then I'm just going to come back down. So that's the kettlebell snatch. There are lots of variations, but this is a very good start to it, and that's the kind of way that we're going to go ahead and teach it, show you. Remember that if you're just starting, high pulls are a good start off in progression, and you use the high pull to help you teach into your snatch. Our next drill for strength is an excellent drill. Many of you have probably front squatted, maybe with dumbbells or barbells. Kettlebell front squat, from all my experience doing squats and things along those lines, is bar none probably the most comprehensive upper body or full body lift from the front squat perspective that there is. The demand that the double kettlebell front squat places on your trunk and on your shoulders during higher repetitions is immense, which is a huge benefit for those of us that are working on getting some of that energy system work out of this. In this instance, we're doing strength work, so I've got a couple of heavier kettlebells to give you a little bit of a more realistic perspective. If you can't double clean them up like I'm going to show you, go ahead and bring one up at a time and then get a hold of your other one before you go and do your work. So let me go ahead and get set up with these. Here, I'm going to go ahead and double clean them up into position. We're going to get into a good rack position, such vertical forearms. I've got a nice firm grip, and my trunk's already just getting hammered right now. Weight on my heels. You can toe out the toes just a little bit if you'd like. I'm going to push back on the hips and push the knees wide. So as we move into our front squat, you can see I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. If you need to do one at a time, that's fine by me. It's whatever, because that's not necessarily part of the drill. Okay, nice solid position. I'm going to go about hip width distance with the foot stance. Toes can be turned out. We're going to have weight on our heels. We're just going to push back into the movement and then back up. We're trying to fire through the heels and squeeze the glutes all the way from the very bottom. My trunk's doing a ton of work. I'm getting my legs. As you can see, I'm not drifting out and trying to hold the kettlebells here as such. That will really ruin your shoulders and not feel good at all in the long run. We want to kind of brace our elbows off and be in a solid rack position off the front of our body, bracing our elbows off our trunk. You can see that even if just a few repetitions there is very demanding. Excellent drill for the trunk. You want to try to fire through the glutes all the way down. With the kettlebells and having the weight on the front side of the body, it's going to allow you to a lot more naturally drift into that low position and not feel like you're going to be shelved forward. It actually allows you to engage and push back on the hips as such. Another thing you want to concentrate on doing is pushing the knees wide, which should create space for your pelvis to come down through. I'm going to give you one look actively at that real quick here just a second. There. As I move down, move hips back, knees wide. And then back up. And that's our second big iron drill, the double kettlebell front squat.